This is USCHO Weekend Review. And here is your host, Ed Trefzger.
Welcome to USCHO Weekend Review for Monday, November 24th, 2025. I am not Ed Trefzger. I am Jim Connelly, joined by Derek Schooley. Ed is on location at the Friendship Fort in Belfast this week. So Derek and I will try to hold the fort down here. Derek, good to see you.
Good to be seen, and I am not Ed Trefzger either.
This episode is brought to you by the men's NCAA Division I Frozen Four, April 9th and 11th in Las Vegas. Go to ncaa.com/mfrozen4 for tickets. All right, schools, let's jump right in here. We're going to start off with Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they entered the weekend number 7 in the USCHO poll. They went to Michigan State, and they did what maybe none of us saw coming, and they swept number 1 Michigan State, a Michigan State team that had won 9 in a row coming in. They were playing their best hockey. A 5-4 win on Friday night, 2-1 in overtime for the Badgers on Saturday. Schools, what's your takeaway from that? That's a pretty big weekend for Wisconsin.
Well, I think that the reason that nobody saw it coming is I don't think anybody's given them the respect they deserve. I don't think they have the superstar power that a Michigan or Michigan State has. They haven't got a lot of the fanfare that all these other schools have had. And I think that's one of the points that they're just kind of flying under the radar. They're not anymore. And I think that's one of the things that they are. They have the same amount of the same amount of wins as Michigan has. They have one less point than them. But they've got balanced scoring. They've got a lot of guys that have the same amount of points. And they're just a Mike Hastings team. Structure, detail. They just play like Mike Hastings teams. It just took them a little bit of time to get there. Everybody expected the Mike Hastings magic touch to happen last year, and it didn't. And we're finally getting there. And now you're seeing Wisconsin just kind of pop up there, and now here we are, the 7th-ranked team in the nation, or whatever they're going to be, and sweeps the Spartans at Munn.
Certainly, they will be a team that we talk about a lot this week. They are now number 2 in the NPI. That's something we're also going to talk about, especially in the second half of this episode. The NPI, we're almost at Thanksgiving now, so it's about time we talk about that. But schools, when you look at it, they went on the road and did this. Is that what is most impressive for this Wisconsin team, that they took care of business away from home?
Yeah, it is. It's a hard place to win, man, and it's just proven. Road wins, and you talk about the NPI. That's going to be the big thing that you're really going to see in the NPI. Those are massive wins, and when they're doing it, they jump you right towards the top. And I think that's those things are really exciting for them to really, because you want to get the old saying is you want to split on the road and sweep at home. And then when you can sweep on the road, those are big, I guess the word that you want to use is enthusiastic excitement for your group, especially when you get road sweeps. I know Brian Riley used to take his team when they would sweep at Army on the road. They'd stop for ice cream on the road. Just something different, that it's not the same as a home sweep. They'd stop for ice cream. It's something different. It's something more exciting. I know Wisconsin probably got on their charter, so they didn't stop to get ice cream. But it's just something more exciting for your team than sweeping at home.
Any concern about Michigan State at this point? That was a really nice streak of 9 in a row after losing on opening night to New Hampshire. There are 3 losses come at home, which I guess when we talk about NPI in the second half of the show, that probably has a little bit to do with them not being right at the top of the NPI. But are you concerned at all about the Spartans?
I'm not. Are you?
No, not really.
No, I'm not. I mean, I think if I would, Mike Pursuta, my radio guy, a Michigan State alum, would probably jump down my throat this weekend, but I'm not. I think it's just a bump in the road. I just think it's one of those things that it's going to happen during a long year, and we'll see if it becomes a long, if it's a slide, if it continually happens. But right now, it's just a bump in the road.
Well, let's move on here. And a topic that I didn't probably have ready to put on the sheet today, but after watching this weekend, Kai Daniels and a 5-goal game for Princeton on Friday night against St. Lawrence. Then on the Saturday night game, he had a goal and assist against Clarkson. A big weekend for Daniels, but it's also a big weekend for Princeton. That's suddenly a team in the Ivy League and the ECAC that we're talking about. I know you and I were talking a little off the air. You want to slow the roll on Kai Daniels a little bit, but what do you say to this?
Well, I mean, if everybody wants to jump this and say, oh, this is the next Hobie Baker award. Sneaky, under the radar award candidate, Hobie Baker type deal. Kai Daniels, very nice player. I watched him play a lot in junior hockey. We've got one of his teammates here. Had 19 points his freshman year, 8 goals, 11 assists in 30 games. Last year, 2 goals, 2 assists in 18 games. This year, 8 goals in 7 games. But this is a really, really good weekend. I need to see more before I anoint him as the next Hobie Baker, the next player of the year, the next everything that coming out of the ECAC. Really great weekend. Good weekend for Princeton. Most goals in Princeton since 1960 something, before we were born.
Yeah,
really
barely.
cool. Really cool. Before Ed was born. Let's throw Ed under the bus. No, Ed was alive when that happened. Let's say that. But really, really neat story. But let's see where this takes Princeton. Great story. The Ivy Leagues, I think, is a big story right now in the ECAC with Dartmouth start, Princeton doing really well. And I think that's what really kind of the bigger story is. Harvard having a good start, Cornell. The Ivy Leagues are really kind of the story of the ECAC right now.
Yeah, certainly. It had been 14 years since a player had a 5-goal game. That's certainly quite some time. And I agree with you. You got to slow down a little in terms of what Kai Daniels is. But this Princeton team is suddenly a team that we have to at least look out for. And the Ivies feel a little skewed right now. You've got Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, Princeton, and Cornell.
Wow.
I somehow left Cornell out of it. I mean, they're all strong out of the gate here. Are we finally seeing the Ivy League start to catch up after that COVID break?
Maybe. I think that's the one thing that we talked about, I think a couple weeks ago with Dartmouth, is the shutdown really hurt them, and they're finally kind of getting there. But I think you're really going to start to see the big test, at least for Princeton coming here, their trip to Bowling Green this weekend. Bowling Green's been pretty good. Bowling Green's got a lot of major junior players, and I think you're going to see that this is a big test. If they go into Bowling Green and do better than a split, then you're going to say this Princeton team may be for real. And I think that's the big key. If they come out with 2 losses, then you're probably going to say, because the CCHA has been hovering around that 40%, 45% in non-conference. If they come out and they get swept, then Princeton was just a nice little story so far. If they come out and they sweep Bowling Green, if they get, let's say they go a tie and a win, or a shootout and a win because of whatever. Let's just say they get, let's say it was a league game and they get 4+ points on the weekend. Then they're for real.
Open your eyes.
Yes, then it's something to really look at.
Well, I'll tell you, nobody has their eyes closed on Michigan right now. Their offense is rolling. It has been all year. A 5-2 and an 8-1 wins this weekend over Ohio State. The Wolverines are now 13-3-0 overall, 6-2 in the Big Ten. They are averaging 5.19 goals per game, 21 power play goals in their first 16 games here. This is off the chart scoring here, Schools. Is this as aggressive a scoring line as you've seen from a team in quite some time?
I told you. I mean, I saw it. We gave up 12 or 14. We gave up 4, which I thought was really good, and then They popped 10 the next night. They popped 18 on Mercyhurst. I mean, if you go down the list of, they scored 8 on Providence. They got 14 on us. They got 6 on Western. Then they got, what they get on Notre Dame? They got 7. I mean, those are just absurd numbers that they're just 8 on Wisconsin. On Penn State, they got 9. I mean, those are weekend numbers. Then now 13. I mean, those are video game numbers, and that's why they're averaging 5+. And we talked earlier about mega stars and stars. There's Hobie Baker numbers being put up in that locker room, and they've got a few of them. And you just continually look. You got 11 players with double-digit points, 6 players over a point a game, and not just that, their team defense is quietly, and I think they've got just over 2 goals a game. They've got a good goalie. They've got firepower, offensive structure. The one thing that got me, and I'll say this, we scored a goal to make it 3-2 halfway through the second period. And we went to a 4-on-4 scenario. And I'm like, uh-oh. And we came out of that 4-on-4 down 5-2. They got a power play goal about a minute later, and it went from, with 6 minutes to go, it went from 3-2 to 6-2 before I knew it. And it went, and that was a 4-on-4 and a 5-on-4 without even a blink of an eye. Their firepower is unreal in different scenarios. So if you play 4-on-4, watch out. You put on the power play, watch out. Pure firepower. We talked about Wisconsin being structured. This is offense, but they also have goaltending to go with it.
And I guess we see this sometimes. Schools over the course of a season, we'll see offenses start to explode. I don't know that in the last 10, 15, even 20 years, I can remember a team that does it consistently. And if we get to the point that we're seeing these same numbers in March and April, I mean, we're talking about Las Vegas. We're talking about a Frozen Four for this Michigan team. And especially if their goaltending keeps performing well, being their strength of the team as well. If they can keep a goals against around 2 and you're scoring 5, it's not even going to be a contest.
I mean, have you seen a team with the scoring differential that we're talking?
We're talking Maine from 1993. That's the last time I can remember an offense like this.
I mean, you're talking a scoring differential of +3.
It's a lot.
Yes, it is. And that's back in the old college hockey stats days where the scoring differentials were +1. And you're like, now you're talking a +3. I mean, that's a big scoring differential. Yeah, that propels you to like that those are numbers that are video game numbers.
It's crazy. Let's move on to a few more of the sweeps around college hockey this weekend. Western Michigan, they get a much needed sweep of Omaha. They are back on the right track. 7-2, 4-2 wins there. Quinnipiac, they get the sweep of Clarkson St. Lawrence. Them and Princeton both swept Clarkson St. Lawrence, and Cornell sweeping Union and RPI. All 3 of those feel like pretty significant sweeps for top 20 teams. Any one of those 3 really stand out to you?
I think Western getting back into doing what they're doing was big. I think those are those really all kind of just what the doctor ordered and what they needed to do. I think that's really kind of the story behind it. Western over Omaha, doing what they needed to do. Quinnipiac doing what they needed to do at home, and Cornell doing what they needed to do. I mean, both at home. I think those are, the biggest thing. I think Quinnipiac's would have been more impressive if it was in the North Country, but seeing it was at home, I think those are all what they needed to do. So those are big sweeps. I mean, sweeps are sweeps. Hard to do.
When you look back at this weekend, is there anything in the top 20 that really makes you change your mind? I mean, we already talked about Michigan State. I think I had them on number 2 on my ballot. They didn't fall that far for me. Is there anything in your mind that really changed this weekend?
No, I think pretty much everything's still as par. I think the bigger thing, and we're going to take a deeper dive, is the NPI is all messed up. That's the shocker, and I think that's a perfect segment to go to segment two, segue, I should say, and segue into segment two, because that's the shocker as we are right now. And USCHO put out a great graphic that's got a lot of people talking right now.
Well, we will get to that next as we're going to step aside here, and we will talk NPI. Ed's away this week. We will talk NPI. First, this episode is brought to you by the men's NCAA Division I Frozen Four, April 9th and 11th in Las Vegas. Go to ncaa.com/mfrozen4 for tickets.
I'm Cole Caulfield, and I played college hockey.
I'm Adam Fox, and I played college hockey.
I'm Jake Gensel, and I played college hockey.
I'm Kel McCarr, and I played college hockey.
Whether you're a fan or a player, nothing compares to college hockey.
Welcome back to USCHO Weekend Review, and let's talk NPI. Let's start it here, Derek. People still might not know. Pairwise, that's a term that's in the past. NPI, the NCAA Power Index. Similar to the pairwise, it's being touted as the better math. That will replace the selection criteria this season. As you're sitting here in November, schools, we've kind of learned a little bit more about NPI. Anything that kind of stands out for you before we get into the math?
Anything that stands out? Dartmouth number 1, Cornell number 3, Michigan State, that many people feel is the best team in the nation, at 13. Just those. How about some of the brand names? Some of those down in the 20s. What about Arizona State, that we feel it's pretty good, down in the 40s? Just a few before we dive into real deep right now.
Well,
So-
you started it. I guess the first thing that stands out for me is looking at the Ivies. And there's 4 teams in the top 15 right now. You mentioned it. Dartmouth 6-0-0, they're number 1. Cornell 6-2-0, they're number 3. Harvard 5-1-1, they're number 8. And Princeton 5-2-0, they're number 15. Now, the one thing I think we're learning, and maybe we know this with the pairwise too, we'd maybe be in the same situation if we were talking pairwise right now, but as we look at this early, it does feel like the Ivies are a little skewed. They've had some success early, but do you think as we get into this that we're going to see 4 Ivy League teams staying in the middle all season?
I don't think so. I think it rewards wins, and right now it's rewarding wins because they haven't very few losses because they haven't played many games. I think you're going to start seeing them get some games, and we talked about Princeton going to Bowling Green earlier in the show. You're going to start seeing some more non-conference games coming into the mix, and when they lose a game like that, or if they win, oh my, yes, I think you're going to start seeing that happen. But if they lose one of those games or they drop a game they shouldn't, then I think you're going to start seeing some of those teams dropping. So, I mean, it rewards who you beat, where you beat them, and whether it was regulation or overtime. And I think that's when you're going to see that happening.
If I told you Dartmouth, Cornell, Harvard, Princeton, only 2 of those teams can stay in the top 15 all season, which 2 do you think would be in there?
Dartmouth and Cornell right now. I think we've been touting Dartmouth for a while now with Reed Cashman, and Cornell obviously has been there the last couple of years, been really close. They were really close to getting to the Frozen Four last year. They returned a lot. Obviously, Casey taking over for Mike hasn't missed a beat with Casey being there last year. So I would say that those 2. Harvard's close. Harvard's been rebuilding a little bit. But I would say right now that if you told me those 2, I would pick Dartmouth and Cornell.
Let's look around the top of the rest of the top 15 right now. And there's brand names in here. And these are programs we've talked about all season. Wisconsin currently number 2. Michigan currently number 4. Denver 5. Minnesota Duluth 6. Northeastern 9. North Dakota 10. Penn State 11. Western Michigan 12. Quinnipiac 14. All of those teams we've been talking about since the beginning of the season. Maybe not as much. Some Northeastern has come on, Wisconsin's come on, but every one of those teams has been in our conversation. Even Minnesota Duluth maybe wasn't there at the start of the year. So I guess in terms of the names that are actually in there, take those Ivy leagues out. I don't think there's a lot of surprises. Do you agree, Derek?
Well, I mean, Duluth's a surprise. We've kind of talked about that they're having a great year, but I mean, we knew you could change that name to any team in the NCHC that would be having a good year at 12-4, and they'd be up there, just because of the strength of that league. Minnesota State having a really good year. The CCHA, I think that's not really a surprise, but as high as they are right now. But once again, you're a mini slide away from them dropping a massive amount of points and spots because of the league and where the league of the strength of schedule is right now and their non-conference record. So to be able to sustain that's going to be a little bit difficult. When you say, I don't know, you've talked to Tim Dennehy a lot, and I'm going to throw this back at you. I know there's only 2 of us this week, so you're playing the host. But you know this NPI a little bit more than I do. Is this sustainable for Minnesota State, where they're at with the non-conference record of the CCHA? Unless they go on a massive run?
That's the big question, right? They're 8-2-4 right now. Again, you said the NPI favors wins, and they have won games thus far. Their conference overall hasn't been that strong out of conference, but I still think in terms of Minnesota State staying up there, they're there in a really good position right now. And as long as they don't go on some sort of a 6-game losing streak or lose, 6 of 8 or something like that, I don't think that they have to fall. I think you're going to have to see somebody from the CCHA sit up there. I guess Hockey East is the conference that maybe makes me wonder a little bit. They have a lot of teams in the middle. Northeastern is the only school I mentioned in that top 15 schools. So I guess when I'm looking at some teams on the outside, maybe that's one. And I guess that brings us to Michigan State too. You mentioned it. They were the consensus number 1 the last 2 weeks in the poll. They've lost 2 games. All 3 of their losses this year came at home. 1 came to UNH, a team that's down in the 40s of the NPI. So when you look at the resume for Michigan State, I think it looks impressive, but those 3 home losses are really weighing them down. They're sitting down at 13 right now.
Which is a surprise to me. I mean, you would think that because of what they've done and who they've beat, and obviously 3 home losses are just crushing them right now. And that's the thing. I mean, 9-3 and impressive 9 wins. It's not like their wins have been against. It's not like their wins are all like cupcakes. Their 9 wins have been impressive. Like you said, consensus number 1 until at least in the voters' eyes, and that shows you the difference between the voting and the NPI right now. And people are. Can you imagine if this was we're at the end of the year right now? Can you imagine this was the end of the year and the voters, people who don't know the difference between what the NPI, because you're looking at Michigan State right now as a 4 seed,
right,
in the tournament, and people would be like, oh my God, they're number 2 overall, the random fan who just looks at the polls. They're number 2.
They're the bubble team in.
Yeah, they're a 4 seed. I mean, who don't pay attention to what the new NPI is. I mean, this would have been a massive. People would have been like, "Oh my God, why are they a 4 seed and Dartmouth's the number 1 overall seed?" I mean, that's the crazy thing about the NPI right now. I think it's going to end up right-siding itself here eventually, but I don't know. I'm learning the NPI just like you. It took us a long time to figure out the nuances of the pairwise. Now we're going to see this NPI, and I've been told it's better math. You keep telling me that, Tim Dennehy. Even when I was on the committee, we were talking about this, and I've been off the committee for 3 years ago. This new math, we'll see if it ends up being in. We'll see. You know what we're going to see is we're going to see some teams that are really, really good that are going to go, ooh, I don't like this math. I like the pairwise math a lot better.
Well, the other thing too is how different would it be? We haven't run those comparisons. I know that we are working on some stuff behind the scenes to kind of compare the numbers. So we will have that. But let's look at some of the teams that are on the outside looking in. And there's some pretty big names here. Boston College, they're 23rd right now. Maine, they just split with Boston College. They are 28th right now. Miami, we talked about how fast of a start they had. They're 8-4 now. They are 29th. Boston University, a game below 500. They're 35th. We've talked a lot about Minnesota's struggles. Arizona State struggles out of the gate. They're 42-43. You're talking about the possibility, if the season ended today, you're talking about an NCAA tournament, no BC, no BU, no Maine, no Miami, no Minnesota, no Arizona State. Miami, let's take those out. They're a team that's been down for a while now, but they had a nice start. The other 5 teams, to think of all 5 of them missing the tournament right now, feels crazy.
Well, I mean, if you would have said Miami's even a team at 29, I think Anthony Marine would have that's a really good jump. I mean, they didn't win a game after October last year. So this was a really good year for Miami, but Maine, we were touting them. I know you were, because you're the kind of the Hockey East guru. You were touting them as a top 5 team. Boston College, BU, Minnesota, Arizona State, all in the 20s on down. Wow, that's the brand names being on the bottom end of the new NPI. And I think the one thing I think people, probably 3 to 4 weekends away from making some big jumps. If you have a couple good weekends, maybe 2 to 3 weekends.
So I think full sweep weekends, if you take all 6 points, so you're talking about winning in regulation, if you take all 6 points out of 3 consecutive weekends, anytime, you're going to make some sort of a move in the NPI and your conference standings for that matter. We're just not seeing a lot of 6-point weekends right now. I look at Hockey East this week, every single series was a split. And that's been pretty common in that league. So I think when we look at some of these teams that are on the wrong side of the bubble, it's needing to take more than 3 or 4 points in a weekend. 5 and 6 has to be the number you're thinking.
Well, at least it's not 6-7.
Oh, God. With that, we will wrap it up here. This episode has been brought to you by the NCAA Division I Men's Frozen Four, April 9th and 11th in Las Vegas. Go to ncaa.com/mfrozen4 for tickets. And a reminder, this and all of the podcasts we record here on USCHO are now available on our YouTube channel. Check us out. Visit www.youtube.com/USCHO. Click like and subscribe. Watch all of our episodes there. Make fun of us. Do whatever you'd like. Schools, this was pretty fun. We'll get to
we missed Ed, though, didn't we? Did we miss Ed? Did we miss Ed or not?
I think we did. I'm not going to try to say that this is easy hosting without Ed.
Yeah, I tried to throw a little back to you every once in a while.
You did a good job of that. Well, we'll wrap up for here, and we will join you again on Wednesday for Upon Further Review.